26 Bible, 877-26 Bible.
Get your Good Neighbor events to us in writing 2 weeks before they occur. We'll put them on the radio and the internet. WGNS, AM, FM, and online. We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into the Roundtable in WGNS. I'm Andy Herzier, founder and president of First Shot, and I get to welcome in longtime friend and supporter of First Shot, and I really appreciate that more than anything. Our mayor, Shane McFarland. Shane, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I was just here last week. We did our action line Wednesday, so people are going to get tired of hearing from me, Andy.
No, I don't think so. Because the bottom line is there's so many things going on in our community that people want to hear about.
Yeah.
And you're the leader of that community, and I'm a proud supporter of you. But let's talk about family a little bit for me, because you've involved me with your family by your kids growing up in First Shot a little bit.
Yeah. Talk
about the twins being at UT. What year?
Yeah, they're sophomores, so got to see them this weekend. Yeah,
what a great picture on Facebook, your family.
Yeah.
You guys always look like you have so much joy when you're together and doing things. It was a great picture.
Man, that is something that's, it was really cool. Years ago, a pastor that I was friends with, and he don't go to his church, he actually works on our job sites. And he was telling me that there's really 3 phases of being a dad. The first phase of from like birth to like 11 or 12, you're their parent, right? You're telling them, this is what you're going to do. This is why you're going to do it. Then from that 12 to 17, 18, you really turn into a coach. You're at that point, you're really just trying to make sure what they've learned, they're doing it the right way. And then from, at that 18 on range, you turn into more of like an advisor. And so it's really cool because the boys are in that, they'll be 21 in January. Drew, my little one, he's 12. And so we're at different phases, but man,
we're going to bring up Drew a little bit late.
Yeah,
next.
Yeah.
Because for me, I got to be involved in them. I can't believe they're sophomores.
Yeah.
In college, loving UT.
Yeah, they do. They love it. They've got, Eli was elected vice president of his fraternity, the only sophomore that won a leadership position. Luke he told me last night, he's like, hey, Dad, I've started door dashing. And I'm like, brother, why are you door dashing? He's like, I just don't want to sit around the house. I want to make some extra money. And that, which has been cool because, you know this from them being in basketball. They built one of their, there's this NBA 2K league that you play online, and they both were athletes. But they built this streaming platform where they're the 2K twins, and all these people were following them. And I mean, literally, we don't give them money. They earn their own money. So one of the things I'm proud of, they've turned into entrepreneurs. I mean, they work hard. They're good kids.
They're
not kids. They're good young men. I should say.
I was just going to say, and every time they see me out at the country club, they always come up, and it's amazing to see the growth of them. And you guys have done a great job. Your youngest one, though.
Yeah.
As you can see, I pause.
Yeah.
Because every time I see him, there's a smile that comes on my face. He has that effect on people. He really does have a charisma about him that's unique. And and again, everybody wants to hear issues. For me, to see a family grow and become young men, and now you're in that coach mode with your youngest. You're going to find once they graduate, you guys are going to become friends. Like my son and I, he coaches. So now it's not advising as much as seeing him be better than me. And that is really the cool part. And I can see you knowing that your kids are all doing that.
Well, two cool things. I will say this one thing, and I mean this to anyone who's listening, mayor, whatever, that all goes away. That could all go away tomorrow. And I'm more proud of those boys than anything that I've ever done with. I mean, ever. I mean, they're good ones. Now, Drew, Drew is, so there's 9-year difference in between Drew. Drew was not planned. I mean, he's the biggest blessing as far as he just sort of is the tie that binds. That when the boys were older and they were in seniors, he's the one that was they call each other brothers. They don't call themselves Luke and Eli. Luke and Eli Drew. Drew will say, "Hey, when are the brothers coming into town?" I mean, that's what he calls them, brothers. But what's funny, we struggled when Luke and Eli left to go to college, and I guess it's just because I'm a twin, they're twins, and it was a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be. I mean, I was for probably 6 weeks. I mean, I was in a daze. The first 2 weeks, it was. I mean, I hate to say I was in a depression, but I mean, it was rough. I mean, I do the same thing every morning. I get up, go get the dog, take him out, have a cup of coffee, and I sit down at my desk. And so there were these small things that that are just not there anymore. So like every morning I'd go, and the boys would, as seniors, they'd come down and they'd get a glass out of the cabinet, never shut the cabinet door. The lights would be left on. And so, Andy, this is true story. I have this. I saved it. So Drew had heard Ashley and I talk about some of the things that we were struggling with. And so I come down early in the morning. It's like 5 in the morning. I sit down at my desk with my cup of coffee, and there's a handwritten note from Drew that said, and I noticed this when I was making my coffee. I was like, man, the cabinet doors and the lights are on. And so Drew had gotten up in the middle of the night, had planned it, opened the cabinet doors and turned the lights on, wrote me a note that said, "Dad, I know this has been really hard. I got up, I opened the cabinet doors and turned the lights on so that you wouldn't feel so sad about brothers being gone. We're tough. We can get through this. I love you, Drew." And I'm like, an 11, he was 11 at the time, 11-year-old had the thought to go through and do that, which I'm like, that's intentional,
He's just such a cool kid.
Yeah.
And again, thank you for letting me be involved.
Thank you.
We're gonna shift gears a little bit. You're just not the mayor, and I think that's sometimes what we forget. You're also a business owner. McFarland Construction. Talk about that a little bit. How do you balance? Because I think you do a really wonderful job. Family guy first, your business, and our city, and they're all top priorities for you. How do you balance that?
Yeah, it's gotten tougher over the years, just because specifically the mayor position is a lot more than I think what it used to be. But part of it is I've always been pretty good at time management. Like Ashley will tell you, and I think it's just probably the accounting background, like being structured is really important to me, not wasting time. But, I mean, Andy, I think this is on my business side and my mayor side. I've got really good people who I'm surrounded by. Like at my company, I don't have a lot of new people. I mean, it's pretty small. I mean, we've got Brandy Lauer works with me, Jason Moore, Larry Jones, John Ross Langworthy, who Warren Langworthy's son, and then my father-in-law. So I mean, we're pretty lean, but we've got, I guess this is probably the same way as you as a coach. I believe this, that you set the example of the direction that you want to go, and man, you get out of the way. And if you've got good people that know what to do, they do their job. And that's really the same way with the city that, most people, and I think this is really in politics, like you want, you're so you strive to you want credit on something. And you've been around me long enough, and I'm not like tooting my own horn, but like, I don't care who gets the credit. I mean, I think that's one of the things that we have at the city is we've got the best team of employees that they make my job easy. So it's tough sometimes. I mean, like last week was really tough being mayor and having a business, because Thursday we had a council meeting. Wednesday we had a mediation with Republic Services for the landfill, and that was an all-day thing. So it's really just sort of prioritizing, and I could not be mayor if I worked for someone else. I mean, I'm blessed that I work for myself, and so I'm able to sort of set that schedule. That's the big deal.
Well, you mentioned it, the landfill. Kind of update us, and it's an issue for not just Murfreesboro, but for our county as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a much larger issue for the county. They're equal, the county and the city. We're all Rutherford County residents. The landfill has been such a issue for years, and I can't go into all the legal stuff that's going on, but I mean, I think, and this is not anything that I haven't said, I don't believe in legacy. Like, I'm not doing this to set up what people are going to say for me 30 years ago. I do believe, though, that, back in the late 80s, the decisions that were made on allowing this super landfill next to our drinking water, I would hope that we would have made better decisions back then. And I think the thing I'm more worried about right now, seeing some of the things that are occurring out there and making sure that the city and the county work together to protect our residents, I don't want anybody looking back 40 years from now and say, what a bad decision that guy made. And so I think what we're trying to do is to find out the next steps. We're fully committed that, we feel like the best thing for that landfill is for it to close down. I think that the estimates go back and forth, but really, 2 to 4 years is what they're saying that they have left. And that's the tough thing, Andy, is that 70% of the trash that comes into Murfreesboro every single day
is not ours.
It's not ours. It's all Davidson County's trash. The majority of it's Davidson County's trash. And so we've done things to be proactive. Like we've reached out. We met week before last. We met with Nashville, and really talking about what's the next steps and how we can partner together. And that's really what we're focused on. But we're dealing with a really, really large company, and
powerful company.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel very confident that a lot of people will say this doesn't affect the entire county, but it does. What happens in Murfreesboro literally
sets the tone for the rest of the county.
Well, but it literally affects Smyrna and Laverne as well. So this is a large issue, and this is the other part that I would say it's much larger than money. Health and safety and public welfare is greater than money. So solid waste in the future is going to cost more than what it does right now, because right now the deal that was set up in the late 80s, it was free. And but I would argue that the money that we've saved every year doesn't pale in comparison to what our future generations are going to have to deal with that's at that landfill.
Well, again, it's one of those things that I think we just don't realize the health part of it near our drinking water. And so what happens with all the drinking water and the water itself? Because as our county grows, what can we sustain?
Yeah, most of our water comes from Percy Priest. We struck a deal 6 or 7 years ago with the Army Corps of Engineers, which has really allowed us to be able to get our water from Percy Priest. But, a lot of the things that you also have to think about is, we discharge into our effluent or our repurified water. We discharge into Stones River. It's, all over the county that where we do that. Central Valley, we've got a farm out Central Valley. We do that. We've got a farm on Leanna Swamp Road, the Gateway. So I think the big thing is making sure that everything that is happening is safe and is good for our community. And that's really where our focus has been. It's not focused on, negotiating a better deal. I mean, and I say this too, the city council has been committed. I mean, even going back 4 years ago when there are council members who are no longer on the council that were, Rick Lance is a great example. The council's not backed up one time. I mean, the council has been really committed that this is what's best for our community, and we also work with our county commissioners to say, hey, this is what's best for our county. And, there's not a price, you can't put a price tag on, being able, for example, to go in your backyard and not smell the landfill. I mean, you should be able to live on the east side of Murfreesboro, walk out on your backyard and not feel like, well, the landfill's doing it again. So those are all of the things that we're continuing to press and work on.
Well, again, that's just one of several issues. Off air.
Yeah.
Off air, we were talking a little bit about the stadium and the minor league, and it's always amazing how many people will be protesting against it and how many people are pro it.
Yeah.
And it's probably 50-50. So how do you deal with, first of all, that, knowing that part of your community really doesn't want a baseball stadium here? The other part is, does it make financial sense?
Right. So, it's probably the same way that you balance your house, and you have wants and you have needs. And for example, if your air conditioning unit goes out, I mean, that is a need that you've got to take care of. But if your wife is wanting to redo your bathroom, that's a want that you may need. So you've got to really balance in between what you need and what is more not necessarily a necessity. And that's the tough part, I think, with the city government. And the other part with that too, no one wants their taxes raised. I mean, we've raised taxes one time in 27 years, which is crazy in the city of Murfreesboro, that we had a tax increase in 2018. We had to raise taxes to build a new school, but we've not had a tax increase since I've been on council since 2004, and we've had one tax increase in that 20 years. That's
unheard of.
Yeah. I mean, and we've done that because we've been fiscally responsible and we've tried to manage our sales tax. So, the baseball stadium is really cut and dry. That we've got a $1.2 billion capital improvement plan that we've got scheduled for the city over the next 8 years. We can't do all of it. I mean, that's just looking and saying, okay, here are all the projects that are out there. The number that we've got is about half a $500 million that we think that we can do over the next 8 years. But a lot of that is all transportation projects, public safety projects, and parks projects. Those are really our three main areas that we really spend a lot of money on. And so that's what we try to balance that with a tax increase. So when you talk about the baseball field, that's not a need, that's a want. And this whole process with that developer has been really interesting. Back last year, I forget when it was, we had not had, I would say, our staff had some discussions with him, but I'd never met with him until they came with the commissioner. And so it's a AA independent league. So it's not
affiliated with a major league
team. So, here's where I am on it. And I like to be honest. I think this thing has less than a 1% chance. And that probably is being really generous that this will ever happen, but everything's about narratives. And so, like, they released their rendering last week. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on social media when everybody else saw it. And, the guy calls me and says, hey, I just want to let you know we released these renderings. And I'm like, okay. I had not talked to the guy. Maybe a month earlier, he had called me on like a Wednesday because I was in Indiana, and I took his call, and he said, hey, we're working on a couple of things. I'm like, hey, okay, but I just want to be clear. Here's where I stand on it. Then when I talked to him again, it was Wednesday of last week. He called me, and I was like, hey, so, what do you want from the city? Are you wanting us to finance the stadium? And he said, well, yeah, ultimately we want to be able to show that this thing can be self-sustaining through tax dollars and property tax dollars. And I'm like, well, how long of a bond would you want to have out there? And he's like, 20 years, 30 years. And nobody can guarantee that this thing would be successful for 20 years. So where I am, $25 to $40 million to build a downtown baseball stadium in a perfect world, if we had unlimited money, sure. I mean, I think it would be great to have different opportunities downtown. But when you tell me that we would spend $40 million and not be able to build a school or not be able to improve roads, then that's insane. So all the people who are out there, talking about how good it could be, if you want a tax increase, so that would be my question. Do you want a baseball stadium and a tax increase, or would you rather us keep things going with our infrastructure and not have a tax increase? And so that's where we are on it.
So you mentioned roads.
Breaking news, you heard it here, Andy.
I've heard more stuff since I've had this radio show and been really more educated, quite honestly, about roads. Where do you see it? My wife and I, we moved back to Murfreesboro full time. We were still here, but we went out to the lake and lived 3 years, got debt free. Yeah. Being fiscally conservative. And we're back now, but my wife said to me, because she knows I'm impatient, she goes, we're going back to traffic. We were out in Smithville. Yeah. No traffic. Yeah. You can get anywhere you want it in 5 minutes, right? So she kind of warned me. So after this break, we're going to come back, talk about the roads, talk about some of those issues. We'll be right back with Mayor McFarland.
Insurance should be simple, not complicated. That's why at Rayburn Insurance, Agent Rick Hull cuts through the jargon and helps you understand your options clearly. He's committed to finding the right coverage that fits your unique needs and budget. Their team has been a trusted partner in the community since 1973. Ready to make insurance easy? Get with Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. He's ready to help you get the protection you deserve. This holiday season, let's make it magical with First Shot Foundation's Christmas for the Kids. Help bring Christmas joy to Rutherford County kids who need it most. Your support helps provide toys, warm clothing, and a reason to smile. Several local leaders have offered to match funds for the first $10,000 raised, so every dollar you give means $2 for local kids. You can be the reason a child's eyes light up with excitement this Christmas. Go to First Shot Foundation on Facebook to find out how to give. That's First Shot Foundation on Facebook.
Efficient 3-bedroom, 3-bath home located in the highly sought-after Black Fox Crossing neighborhood. Enjoy the convenience of 2 primary suites and a 2-car garage. Recent updates include new flooring in the living areas and bedrooms, as well as fresh paint throughout. This home comes fully equipped with appliances, including a washer, dryer, and an extra fridge in the garage. For more information, call Chip Walters at Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, 615-542-1915.
We chose Adams Place for the security.
We're talking with Peggy Cunningham. What do you enjoy most about Adams Place?
They lock the doors at 8 o'clock at night, and you have to have a code to get in, so I feel very safe when I go to sleep.
Hi, this is Terry Deal at Adams Place. Call me for more information about Adams Place. Phone 615-904-9111.
On Memorial.
Across from Walmart.
The city of Murfreesboro is growing, and we need your help to prove it. This is Mayor Shane McFarland, and participating in the special census helps ensure we get the funding we deserve for essential services like road paving, sidewalks, and parks. It's easy. Just visit murfreesborocensus.com, fill out the secure form, or complete the special census letter coming to your mailbox. Remember, every person counts.
Count me in.
Okay, count me in.
And count me in, too.
Let's make sure Murfreesboro gets its true share. Complete the special census today.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and AmeriCare Pest Control.
I've got pets.
AmeriCare is Rutherford County's #1 choice in pest control, and it's simple to see why. After calling 893-7111, their staff came to my house 8 years ago when I had an insect problem. They looked at the situation, showed me the areas and what they'd recommend to resolve the problem. After treatment and with quarterly checks, I'm bug, critter, and creepy crawly free. Thanks, AmeriCare.
All the best of the best to get rid of your pest.
AmeriCare, 893-7111.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor events. Thanksgiving is next Thursday, not this week, but a week away. And that means Greenhouse Ministries is collecting frozen turkeys. They'll be doing that all day Friday. So bring those frozen turkeys to Greenhouse Ministries on Friday. And if you need a turkey, you need to get a voucher. Those are available right now. Just go by Greenhouse Ministries. The turkey pickup is on Saturday, this Saturday, and the time to pick it up is on the voucher. But if you'd like to make a donation of a frozen turkey or ham, your Thanksgiving gift is needed at Greenhouse Ministries. That's over on South Academy Street. The 31st Annual Art Studio Tour is this weekend. For the location of each studio, go to their website, artstudiotour.org. The Murfreesboro Holiday Market is at the Lane Agri Park this Saturday from 11 until 3. A diverse range of boutique offerings, home decor, live plants, and much more this Saturday over at the Lane Agri Park. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Partial sunshine develops here this afternoon. We'll see high into the mid-70s. Tonight, a chance for some showers and thunderstorms here late, cloudy, and a low near 60. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 63.
We're powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. As we gather around the table this Thanksgiving, MTE wants to thank you, its members, for being the heart of our community. From MTE's family to yours, here's wishing you a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into WGNS and the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzier, founder and president of First Shot. My shameless plug always comes at this time. We have a company here in town that is going to match our Christmas ask. So for every $1 given, we get $1. And we sure would love to appreciate helping us raise money for some much needed kids in our community to have a great Christmas. So if you'd like to give, you can call me at 615-631-5312. I'll get that information out to you, or you can go to firstshottn.org and click on the link to our Christmas give. So, Shane, we were talking about roads.
Yeah.
Before Brian came back in. So let's talk about the infrastructure and how far out you got to plan. And what I didn't realize, in our town, we have so many state roads, so many county roads that cut through.
Yep.
So most of the time, it's not just, how do you work with all three to get this done?
Well, the county is easier to work with just because we don't have the bureaucracy that, we can, like you look at, we're partnering with the county to improve Baker Road, so out where they're building the new school out on Beatty Road. That's a 2-lane road, which, I think the traffic study came back and that was going to cause some significant issues if we didn't partner together. So we're improving the Manson Pike and Blackman Road, Burnt Knob Road interchange or intersection there. The county's improving Burnt Knob and Baker Road. So we work well with the county. And, we build roads. That's sort of what we do. The county doesn't necessarily build a lot of roads. They maintain a ton. Greg Brooks does a great job. So you transition, you talk about the county, or excuse me, the state. The majority of our roads that come through the city are all state roads. I mean, we have gotten so much grief over the construction on Highway 99, and we don't have anything to do with that. That's not a city project. We're not managing that project. We're just thankful that it's going to be done. So, 99, 96, 231, Jefferson Pike, Thompson Lane, Bradyville Pike. Those are just a few that are all state roads. And Old Fort Parkway, the city has allocated almost $20+ million to show the state, hey, we're putting some skin in the game. That's really what has happened now with the state. The state is really looking to municipalities to say, what are you going to put in the game? How much money are you putting in it? Because they don't have the funds to do an entire project. So, but at the same time, Andy, you're not going to hear me say anything negative to TDOT because we're fighting for the same funds that
every other
city is. And so, does it make sense there is a time to be the squeaky wheel, but does it make sense to be critical of TDOT when, the governor's plan, he put $2.1 billion for the Better Build program. But think about this. $700 million went to East Tennessee, $700 million went to West Tennessee, $700 million went to Middle Tennessee. So name cities in West Tennessee that are growing.
None.
Memphis is actually decreasing in population. East Tennessee, you do have growing cities. You've got Chattanooga that's growing, you've got Knoxville that's growing, that Bristol Tri-Cities region is growing. But then you go to Middle Tennessee, who gets that same $700 million. And name me a city in Middle Tennessee that's not growing. Nashville, then just look at the counties. You've got Williamson County, Murray County, Rutherford County, Wilson County. All of those counties, Sumner County.
Anything that touches Nashville.
Yes, they're all growing. So the majority of the funding that we got, we did get to keep our funding for Thompson Lane. That's going to be a 3 or 4 year project that goes from Memorial Boulevard all the way to Broad Street. But then the majority of our funding that we all got was for I-24. And so, I'm thankful that I-24 is going to get some work on it. But, if I could have made the choice between I-24 and saying, hey, these state projects that are inside our city limits that really needs help, then I would have probably chose the stuff that we day-to-day inside the city drive. But, the other part, Andy, is you talking about Smithville, and I'm in Smithville a lot. I'm from Monteagle. There's no traffic in Monteagle. But most growing cities, all are having traffic. I'm in Smyrna quite a bit. Smyrna's traffic is tough. Laverne's traffic is tough. But you go and you look at Franklin, you look at Knoxville, for example. I was in Greenville, South Carolina not too long ago. So traffic is not just a Murfreesboro issue.
Oh, no.
It's something that if you see a growing city, you're going to see traffic.
Well, again, I was amazed to learn how many state roads come through our town.
Yeah.
But I-24 to me, that's a interstate. That's federal. Shouldn't it be federally funded versus state, or the feds give the state the money and then they have to allocate it?
The feds do give some money, but the majority of the interchanges and those things are all state projects. So it's really more of a state deal. I forget what the total number was on the technology infrastructure and some of the things that are happening, and then the governor's got his choice lane proposal that's going through, but that may be a 10-year project. We need help on roads, and TDOT has made the decision that, and not many people know this, the state of Tennessee does not borrow money to build roads. There is no debt, which I'm a proponent of. The tough thing is, and this is a discussion that we have on infrastructure, people will say, hey, you shouldn't have any growth until you get your infrastructure in place. And I agree with that. But here's the
how do you do that?
You can't. That's the catch-22. The majority of infrastructure that is built in this community is built from the private sector, and then they give that to the public sector. So a great example, the Trader Joe's that's being built out on Medical Center Parkway, there's a road being built behind Trader Joe's that sort of connects the entire avenue area. We're not paying for that. The developer's paying for that. They're going to give that to the city, but the thing that is really tough, and this is what I try to tell people who are listening on WGNS, really anywhere, we can't have both. We can't have low taxes, which our tax rate this year is at 95 cents. It's tough to find a city that 95 cents per thousand. It's tough to find a city that has taxes that low and have no development, because the development that comes in helps fuel keeping taxes low. So those people who are like, hey, you need to build all the infrastructure first, we can do that. But what's going to happen is we are going to have to, 1, borrow the money, 2, raise taxes to be able to subsidize getting that infrastructure, and 3, we're paying for infrastructure that in some cases the private sector could pay for and the taxpayer doesn't have to pay for. So there's a balance in all 3 of those to where we can look. Like a great example is Costco. 5 years ago we got criticized that we bought the land that Costco sits on. I think it was like $2.2 million. And that's just the way the world works. No one, after 20 years of doing this, I've completely lost my political filter. So, if we don't do something for an organization that we're trying to recruit in, they just go somewhere else where someone else will. I mean, that's why that Notes Live amphitheater is not coming, is they got a better deal to go somewhere else, and we were just like, we're not doing that. But Costco, for example, we paid $2.2 million for the land, and that facility brings in almost $4 million a year in sales tax to the county and to the city. So, I mean, if you were to tell me as a business person, hey, give me $2.2 million and I'm going to pay you $4 million every year, I mean, if I'm the other person, I'd take that deal every day. Now, of course, you have to outlay that $2.2 million, but $4 million to the taxpayer every year, it's a pretty good deal.
Well, again, I think a lot of people don't understand all the workings of it like I didn't. That is, to me, makes financial sense.
Well,
for us in the future.
We live
like Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Is another prime example of that's going to bring in a lot.
Well,
but they're not. People go from Murfreesboro over to Franklin to Trader Joe's or wherever the closest, because they like Trader Joe's. It's a cult almost.
Well, but the big part with that too, and when I first got elected mayor, everyone was asking me, hey, we want to see a Whole Foods, we want to see a Trader Joe's. So, man, we tried to set up meetings with Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, and they wouldn't even take our phone call. So we ended up meeting with the representative of Sprouts, and we recruited Sprouts to come here. But what we were in Tampa. It was the boys' senior year. So 2 years ago, we were in Tampa at the basketball tournament that with PCA that they go to every year, and we were working hard to get the Trader Joe's here. But what it tells me now is that Trader Joe's does not go into a community that's either stagnant or on a downtrend. They come into communities where they see jobs are increasing, taxes are stable, and they come into communities mainly where they see that median household income is improving. And, I mean, they wouldn't come invest the money that they're investing in this community if they didn't think it was going to be successful. So I think that's really, as you start seeing those type of businesses like Costco and Trader Joe's, and you start seeing some of those things that come in, it lets you know that there are things in Murfreesboro that are going the right direction.
Let's talk about the completion of Northfield. What's that, and where's that at in the?
It's probably lower on the priority list than some of the other roads. I mean, I do
prioritize the roads that this council and you deem.
Yeah, Cherry Lane is going to be, probably number one. Because what that's going to do is anyone coming down Broad Street or on 840 will be able to bypass Broad Street and Thompson Lane. I mean, they'll bypass all of that, and they can go straight. You talk about important for a county resident, because the majority of that area is not in the city of Murfreesboro. It's going to Brian knows. Brian lives in that area. Brian will not have to go down Broad Street to get out of Murfreesboro or to get home. I mean, you don't have to get on Thompson Lane at all, which is a 2-lane road. So I think that's number one. But then you also look on the west side of town, the improvement of Highway 99, I think is a huge, huge road project. We've got South Front Street, a segment of Broad Street and Memorial that, we've got on our plan. So Old Fort Parkway, we've reallocated money through our community investment fund that we had in place that, to take Old Fort Parkway to 6 lanes, going all the way out. So, those are, here's the honest truth. The easiest thing that we have, and I shouldn't say that, like, here's the honest truth. It's like I'm not telling the truth all the time, which you can monitor.
I know you.
You can monitor my social media feed, and you can tell. I had this lady the other day that was like,
you're very transparent.
Yeah, this lady the other day said, Mayor, you need a PR person, because this guy on social media had said that basically the only thing I'm worried about is Drew's travel ball team. And so I responded back to him and said, clearly you don't know me very well. Here are the true facts. And by the way, when you bring my family into it, I mean this respectfully, go pound sand. And I say this, that I think that's what people want to hear from their politicians. They don't want this coded message. So the truth about roads, all the easy road projects in Murfreesboro are done. The easy ones are done. We're now on all the really hard and painful road projects. And so our goal is to be able to find ways to create different avenues that people don't have to go the same way. We just opened Tommy Bragg Drive, that bridge out on River Rock. The reason we built that bridge is so people don't have to go to the intersection of River Rock and Cason Lane. There's another alternative that they can take. So those are the things that we're working on.
Well, we're going to take our final break and be back with our mayor, my mayor, Shane McFarland.
Let's go! ABC Wednesday, country music's biggest night, the CMA Awards.
Let's party, Nashville!
Kicks off with this year's must-see collaboration, Post Malone featuring Chris Stapleton live. With electrifying performances by Lainey Wilson, Shabuzi, Ashley McBride, Luke Bryan, plus Thomas Rhett and Teddy Swims. Woo! Luke Bryan, Peyton Manning, and Lainey Wilson host the CMA Awards live Wednesday, 8/7 Central on ABC and stream next day on Hulu.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
At Bud's Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at murfreesboromovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies like the good old famous days.
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
All right, guys, it's Scott. If you're feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out now. At Low T Center here in Murfreesboro on Medical Center Parkway, they make it easy to get your levels checked. And with their on-site lab, you'll get those results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized therapy, or TRT, for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience experience helping patients achieve life-changing results. And most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come into the office for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. Yep, you can lose weight. Get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into WGNS and the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and president of First Shot. Welcome back in. Our mayor, we were finishing up on the roads. Why are those roads so painful? You said you said something to me. Why?
Well, it's the construction is tough because the majority, and that's what's held 99 up. You're relocating massive amounts of utilities that are in the road network. Because typically, what you'll see, you have a road, and then outside of the road, you have what's called the public right of way. In that public right of way, that's where everyone puts their utilities. So when you think about this, it would be like adding onto your house and your HVAC unit, your heating and cooling units on the side of the house, and you're making your house wider. So you have to relocate all your electrical, you have to relocate your heating and cooling system, and that's the exact same thing when you widen a road. All those utilities that are outside the road all have to be relocated, and those are all separate companies. So you've got, AT&T, Comcast, you've got all of these companies that you're working with to be able to relocate their infrastructure.
So again, the Keystone Project.
Yeah, where we're sitting now.
Yep. Talk about it. Talk about what that brings to the city, and why is it so important to us as citizens?
Yeah. So think about this, and I know apartments are the dirty word in Murfreesboro. I'm
living in one. It's not dirty to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, new apartments, people get really frustrated, and we've really not. I grew up in an apartment. I mean, that Ashley and I, we lived in an apartment when we first got married. But everything has changed. So let me say this. Really, there hasn't been any new apartments built in Murfreesboro except for what's out in the Gateway area. That's really where we've sort of driven that. I don't think you'll see a lot of new ones approved, but downtown, we have 0 living units in the downtown proper area. And I say the square. So you look at most really thriving downtown areas, they have downtown living. I mean, go to Knoxville, for example.
Chattanooga.
I mean, Chattanooga is a great example, too. And so, and I say this to the people who are listening, too, because probably the people who are listening to WGNS, they're a lot closer to my age than they are Luke and Eli's age, right? Kids are different now. I mean, when Ashley and I first got married, our number one goal was to have our own house. That was our number one goal. Kids are not like that anymore. I mean, they're thinking of other things. They're thinking of what they can do. What experience they can have. They're not tied to, hey, I want a big front yard and a big backyard. That's just not the way they're wired right now. So I think this opportunity downtown. And I'm a small business owner at heart, and all of our friends, Sean Hacketson, Christy Hacketson, Mitchell Murphy, I mean, you look at all the people who are downtown have small businesses. And so our overall thing is it helps to have people living downtown. One, you don't have to have everybody drive into the square, but people will go and shop downtown. That's what that Keystone Project brings. And, the email I got last week, they're all on track with their timing right now. The big holdup has been the hotel, just because it's not been proven that a hotel will be successful downtown. And so
What city is like us in our state, or maybe in the southeast, because that's thriving and growing? I mean, we have 5-6 Walmarts in our our town.
Yeah.
And Walmarts are closing shops around the country, not ours. They're thriving. So what does...
I mean, if I could say I could pick a downtown that I think would be reflective of Murfreesboro that we could strive to, Greenville, South Carolina is a great example. I mean, Greenville, South Carolina is a small area. It's nowhere close to the size of Murfreesboro, but their downtown area it's electric with it's thriving what's down there.
Yeah, and they did that change because in 1984, after I came back from overseas, I lived in Simpsonville, South Carolina, which was Greenville.
Yeah.
That town was dead. So they did something that maybe we should be mirroring.
Yeah, and I think that's the direction we're heading. But you look at what they have, they've got a civic center downtown that they have all kinds of great concerts. They have restaurants. I mean, heck, I went to a comedy club in downtown Greenville. And I mean, Greenville is not like a huge city. No. I mean, so I think people talk about traffic. The traffic is going to hurt you on Broad Street. Well, the Town Creek projects that's starting right behind us, we've closed like 14 curb cuts on Broad Street. Where the Copy Mate used to be, the Subway used to be, the Discount Break shop used to. I mean, those are all closed off now. So anyone who's going to South Church Street, you don't have to wait on somebody turning into a business now. So I think it's all in conjunction with what we're seeing downtown, and I really believe that activity breeds activity. And we had a talk about the homelessness downtown as we're walking into WGNS. I mean, I think getting people to live here and people who will frequent downtown businesses at night, it brings activity that clears up other things. And so I think the Keystone Project, the big issue has been the hotel, and so I think the city and the city council has been supportive. I think we've got a deal in place now where, like, I think it would be hugely successful if someone would come and build like a civic center. And when I say a civic center, like a conference center downtown that would have a hotel. I think people would come to Murfreesboro to have their meetings. I'm not talking like a big conference center, but 6 or 8 big meeting rooms where people could come and hold their meetings. I think a lot of your downtown businesses would use that, as opposed to right now they're going out to the Gateway and using the Holiday Inn. They're using Embassy Suites. So I hope somebody will sort of pick up that flag and run with it.
The other one, the old First Methodist Church, what's going on with that? And
yeah, that's every time I talk about that project, my blood pressure goes up.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean...
No. I mean, I've talked about it a bunch on WGNS. That project has not turned out like we anticipated. If we could go back and re-choose the developer that we chose back in 2018, we would do that. The city council voted about a month and a half ago to start condemnation process on that property. The developer hasn't started on it. I met with the developer probably a month ago with our city team, and they gave us, hey, this is what we have planned. And I'm like, look, the city council, I don't mind being the bad guy. The city council really has 2 options. We find a reasonable way to acquire the property back, or 2, we're going to condemn it and we're going to put downtown parking there, because the downtown parking is horrible.
Tough.
Every study we have shows that the downtown needs more parking, and so we're waiting on some legal things to come back, and then we're going to start the process of getting that property and putting some parking down there.
Will it be a garage or just open parking?
Yeah, I mean, I think for right now, it would be a lot less expensive probably to do the latter, to have some green space and then get, because we owned a third of that lot already. That's one of the reasons we sold the property as inexpensive as we did, because the public demand for parking was so great. So I don't know exactly what the overall plans are, but we're committed to righting that wrong and making sure that it gets fixed. And here's another thing, that church downtown, the longer it sits, the more disrepair it gets into. So we're going to figure out a way to provide some infrastructure downtown, and that's what we're committed to on that property.
Well, again, I want to thank you because it's been one of the quickest hours I've had. I appreciate you. I appreciate all that you do, and it's a sacrifice what you're doing.
Yeah. Hey, let me say one thing too. I'm going right after this to City Hall. I've started doing this segment called Monday with the Mayors, and it's just really like a 6 or 7 minute hit to talk about really like what we're talking about on a few things. So if you get a chance, go take a look at the city social media pages or mine, and you'll see that coming on. I think we're going to talk about a couple of cool things today.
Well, again, I appreciate you coming in. Can't wait to listen in.
All right, man. Thank you for what you do.
Neighbors.
This county is willing to put themselves out there and take some new initiatives.
Mike Clausen, General Manager of the Middle Point Landfill.
We want to transform Middle Point into a sustainability campus where we are building recycling facilities. We're building cutting-edge diversion facilities.
Middle Point values its relationship with you, which is why we never tire of serving our neighbors throughout Rutherford County.
Learn more at middlepointlandfill.com.
At Bell Jewelers, we'll have some exciting Black Friday week events going on. Not only will our jewelry be at the lowest price for the year, if you spend $299 or more, in the past we've given away televisions, iPads, earbuds. So be making your Christmas wish list, and that's all Thanksgiving week. It would be a great opportunity that Black Friday week. The more you spend, the more you save. At Bell Jewelers.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, flagship station for MTSU Sports. Courthouse clock time, 10 o'clock.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
Now an update from the WGNSradio.com News Center.
I'm Brian Barrett. A tragic accident on I-24 West near Bell Road has left 18-year-old Bethany Doolittle from Antioch dead after a hit and run. Doolittle was struck while walking on the interstate on Monday evening. Authorities say several vehicles later struck her, but none are believed to be the initial vehicle. Investigators are working to identify the driver involved and urge anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers in Nashville. As Medicare open enrollment continues, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office is warning seniors about scam calls from people pretending to be Medicare representatives. These scammers may ask for personal details like your Medicare number or even credit card info, claiming to help with enrollment. Remember, real Medicare agents will not call for anything, so if you get one of these calls, hang up immediately. For help with enrollment, contact Medicare directly, 1-800-MEDICARE, or visit medicare.gov. The Center for the Arts in Murfreesboro is preparing for a festive holiday season with a variety of performances to enjoy. Coming up, Irvin Berlin's White Christmas at MTSU's Tucker Theater, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, Beautiful, the Carole King musical, and Alice in Wonderland Jr. We caught up with Carrie Bowe, director of the theater and operations, who shared how much effort goes into these productions.
In White Christmas, we've got our 2 young ladies who play Susan, and I believe they're 9 and 10. Mm-hmm. But depending on the show, they're as young as 6. We've had people in their 80s on our stage.
Yeah.
So.
Those who participate in the art invest a multitude of hours into each production and bring each play to life. More news at wgnsradio.com. I'm Brian Barrett.
The Good Neighbor Network, on air and online at wgnsradio.com. Rutherford County's most trusted source for local news.
Hey, how about that Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight on Netflix Friday? The one with all that super fun buffering?
We knew this wasn't going to be easy.
Maybe you caught the Karate Kid himself ringside. Ralph Macchio representing for Netflix's Cobra Kai. A whole new batch of episodes for its final season dropped, and this Wednesday he gets a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, right next to the star of his old movie sensei.
Daniel-san! What?
Yep, Pat Morita, and Ralph told me he was pretty touched by the whole thing.
It's so thoughtful and sweet and emotional, but so right at the same time.
Sure, of course.
And pretty good one-stop shopping for the Karate Kid and tourist fans out there.
Okay, Ralph Star will be number 2,795 on the Walk of Fame. For CBS Entertainment, I'm Matt Wolf.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join our growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
This is CBS Rewind, November 18th, 1988. The release of the animated movie.
My name is Littlefoot.
The Land Before Time.
You ever seen The Great Valley?
This date in 1992.
What's your name? Malcolm.
The release of Spike Lee's Malcolm X.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock.
Starring Denzel Washington.
Plymouth Rock landed on us.
November 18th, 1994. The Rolling Stones broadcast a 20-minute segment of a show in Dallas live on the internet. And this date in 2000.
I want you, pal, to fill out the missing picture.
Michael Douglas married actress Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Greed is good.
I'm Brendan Brooks.
Greed works.
And that's Rewind.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join our growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Stacey Lynn. Several of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks are getting scrutinized, including his choice for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns reports.
As first reported by the Washington Post, Hegseth's attorney told CBS News that the Army veteran paid the woman to ward off a baseless lawsuit that would have likely gotten him fired from Fox News, and that she initiated a consensual encounter while Hegseth was intoxicated.
He denies the allegations. No charges were filed. President Biden with a big policy change. He says he now supports Ukraine's use of American-supplied long-range missiles in its battle with Russia. Former U.S. ambassador to Russia, John Sullivan, told CBS Mornings why the shift.
The increased escalation by Putin, bringing in North Korean troops, really solidifying this as a global conflict with troops from North Korea fighting in Europe. I think that was the last straw for the Biden administration.
A group of neo-Nazis marched in Columbus, Ohio over the weekend.
Less than a dozen white men dressed in black and wearing red masks faced jeers and taunts as they walked through the streets of Columbus, some holding flags with swastikas.
Take your mask off, man.
State leaders released statements of condemnation. City residents were equally appalled.
Most of them are cowards. You know, they don't want to show their faces.
This is not the America that I used to know.
Police say many of those marching were detained after residents called 911, but were later released and no one was arrested. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
A wildfire near the New Jersey-New York border has prompted some voluntary evacuations. This woman got out.
It's kind of like a war zone. You know, you're hearing the helicopters going by, you're seeing the helicopters, you're sitting there wondering, like, am I going to live? How fast does the fire move?
And the fires burned over 5,300 acres. The biggest budget airline in the country has filed for bankruptcy.
Spirit Airlines, known for its ultra-low fares and fees for just about everything else, has filed for bankruptcy after a series of quarterly losses and a failed merger with JetBlue.
Spirit's operating business as usual right now. If you already have a flight for Thanksgiving, you should be fine, as it is going to be a very busy travel time, according to AAA's Aixa Diaz, who tells us when it's expected to be the worst.
Tuesday afternoon is going to be very congested, as well as Wednesday afternoon as well. If you're leaving on those 2 days, try to hit the road as early as possible.
Nearly 80 million people are expected to go somewhere. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before November 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee, so you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is November 30th, so call now and you'll save even more. Here's the number. 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
A pollster bows out.
J.N. Selzer is retiring from the Des Moines Register's famed Iowa poll. It comes after the Register in its final poll before Election Day delivered a bombshell result showing Vice President Kamala Harris leading Donald Trump 47 to 44% among likely voters in the state. Trump wound up victorious over Harris in Iowa by a 13-point margin, winning the actual vote 56 to 43%. The Des Moines Register says its poll must now evolve to accurately capture public sentiment. Selzer had conducted the poll since 1997. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Well, now that Southern Europe's starting to recover from extreme weather and drought, the price of olive oil will go down. Deoleo, which makes several popular brands, told CNBC as long as weather conditions continue to remain stable, they're cutting the cost in half. The International Olive Oil Council says the biggest olive oil producing countries like Spain, Greece, and Portugal are expected to see stronger harvests this year. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, if you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's